Hello and welcome to another episode of Ashes to Go. I'm your host, Redbyrd, and with me is BDLG. Bordy.
Yo, what's up, dude?
Yo, dude. We got tons of stuff to talk about tonight. We had, of course, a April development update video. Wait, no, not April. Why does it say that at the bottom? It's June. It says April in the video. Okay. Well, anyways, it's June, the June update video. And then, of course, we got a little bit of a reminder for you in the Alpha 1. It starts July 9th. That is the no NDA Alpha. We will get to stream that and do whatever you want with that footage and that gameplay from July 9th to July 11th. And then again, I guess the big Alpha 1 is July 14th through August 13th. So that'll be an entire month of playing the game, creating content, everything like that. We'll be following it over there at Ashes Fans for you, our Ashes of Creation website. So yeah, if you don't have access to Alpha 1, you can tune in over there. So Bordy, the dev discussion that of this month, we're gonna hop right in here before we cover the development update, was environments, Bordy. So I think this one's pretty interesting, man, because me and you talk a lot about our favorite MMO environments. We tend to agree on how cool snow zones are, or like mountain type zones. But here is the official question that they introduced for the topic. What are some of the elements that make for a more realistic or lifestyle world when you play a game from NPCs to environments and beyond? How much does realism matter to you generally? Bordy, I'll let you take it away here. How do you feel about realism and how important is it to you?
Yeah, so realistic, lifelike type of stuff in a game. To be honest, for me, it's not really that important, man. I don't really focus on realism in a game. I do like realistic MMOs, but I also like high fantasy style MMOs, man. So the realism and the lifelike features don't really bother me that much. What I focus on more is like the actual environment and the NPCs around the environment and all of those things. Like one of the things that I compare this to is I go back and I think about a game that I played for a little while that I really, really enjoyed, and it was Mortal Online, the first one. All right. So one of my biggest qualms with Mortal Online is that the environment looked cool, but the world felt so dead. You would run and run and run and run and run forever, and you wouldn't see a creature, you wouldn't see a mob, you wouldn't see anything. And it made it feel really dead. So that's one of my qualms with an environment. I want it to feel alive. I want it to feel lifelike. Everywhere I run, I want there to be something to look at, something to interact with, something to kill, or an NPC there that's interesting to talk to, something to make the world feel alive and vibrant. That's really what I look for in an MMO. And I also look for scale. I like whenever things feel just really big in the MMO, like if there's a big castle, I want it to feel huge. And I think Ashes of Creation is already nailing that on the head. But in terms of realism, man, I don't really care too much about realistic or realism in an MMO. It's a video game. I kind of almost prefer more high fantasy, more non-realistic stuff. You know what I mean? Like I like losing myself in a kind of a fantasy world versus the realistic gameplay.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I actually prefer it not to be realistic. We live in an MMO, and it's called Life, and you can go outside and check out the trees, and you can drive to the park or go to the pool or whatever you want. That, I love the like you said, the high fantasy environments of MMOs and what they bring usually. These massive fortresses and castles and these massive dragons and undead and all those cool things that you can only find in video games. I really, really prefer or enjoy those type of settings. On the NPC part, Bordy, I think it's important to have the NPCs help your player towns and settlements and of course nodes and Ashes of Creation be present and making it feel alive. I like to hear conversation between NPCs and of course players and emotes and all of those things make it a lot of fun. A game that does it really well is Final Fantasy 14. They always, all their player hubs seem alive. There's always people playing instruments and talking and everything like that. I think it's big for an MMO because, like you said, that's the reason we all play MMORPGs instead of RPGs, is to get that living world feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that is the most important thing for sure in terms of just the environment of the MMO. Plus, I think the environment itself does play a pretty critical part for me too. Just roaming around in the environment, I want it to look interesting. I want it to feel interesting. I want it to feel really good. And again, another game we cover, Red New World, they do a fantastic job with their environment over there. And I think Ashes of Creation is also going to have a very amazing environment based on all the everything we've seen so far with the game. It does look incredible so far. So I enjoy that type of stuff, man. I just scaling and those types of things. The realism is just not very important to me.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right, Bordy. And even graphics wise, I would real quick to touch or wrap this up. Even graphics wise, I really don't care for the realism. I mean, it's cool if they can pull it off, but I think it's a lot harder to pull off. And someone made a good point recently. When you try to go the realism route, oftentimes your graphics and art style get outdated quicker because you don't have you have to constantly compete with games that are on better engines and have better graphics. Whether if you just choose an art style and kind of stick with it, it can be ageless. So that's another important thing.
Yep.
All right, dude. So let's hop right in here with the developer update. Now, Steven talked about quite a few things here, or the team. Bacon joined them with, of course, Margaret, and they talked a lot about, moving back into the studio, which is a cool 30-ish of the team members are now back working in the studio. The entire team will be moving back into the studio at the beginning of July, just in time for the Alpha Bordy. So how big do you think this is for the Ashes team?
I think it's huge for them. I would imagine that they are looking forward to getting back into the office. I know a lot of people nowadays have moved to the work at home situation, and some people do like it, but I think there's something to be said. We've talked about this before on the podcast. There's something to be said about being in an environment around other people, especially whenever you're doing something that you enjoy. And I would assume that working for Intrepid would probably be a fairly enjoyable process. You're working on Ashes of Creation. Every job has its qualms, and it's not going to be all sunshine and rainbows all the time. But I would imagine overall, it's probably a pretty fun experience. And I would think that being in the studio with other people to be able to just collaborate and talk to them whenever you want is going to not only speed up the process, but make it a lot more enjoyable, man. I know I enjoy the social interaction of being around other people at work and that type of thing, and just having people to talk to versus just sitting here by myself. It's not the same, man. It's not the same. So I think it will be huge for them to get back into the studio. And I think it's going to be really good for the development of Ashes. I think it'll speed things along. I think things will become a little bit more efficient over there, or at least in my mind, they should.
Yeah, and we're gonna get a dope video or a tour video for Margaret. So that's gonna be cool. They have a brand new office. So that'd be sick to kind of go in and see that together.
I want to check that out for sure.
One of the things that they've been working on, Bordy, is combat. Now, we talk about all the time on our podcast and website how important combat is in MMOs. So Steven talked about working on the back end of the combat system now. And that way, when they start getting more data and information from players, they can start working on the front end during the beta or the alpha, excuse me. So Bordy, one of the things that we kind of worry about is the hybrid system that they're trying to pull off, trying to maybe do too much there and not, again, like kind of pick one style and make it as good as possible. Because there's a lot of room for, I think, innovation in MMOs, right? No, I don't think an MMO has like completely nailed combat to where you're like, okay, this is what MMOs should be like all the time. There's always some qualms in combat systems. So, that's what worries me, I guess, is there's so much innovation that could be done within combat MMO or MMO combat that I worry that they're trying to do too much by implementing two systems in one game. So we'll see how that works out.
Yeah, I don't think we're the only people with that concern. I think that's across the community as a whole. But I do think they'll get it right, man. This is yet again him talking about the combat in this development update. Just they're working on it, man. They're constantly working on it. Steven knows the importance of it, and I think that they'll get something that is good. I think they'll deliver a good product in the end. It's slightly concerning, but not too terrible. I mean, it's still so early on, man, that they have tons of time to tweak it and fix it and adjust it. And it's good to know that they're working on it, man.
Yes, they are. And, it'll be cool to be part of the testing and be able to provide feedback for the Ashes team as we kind of go in, because again, it's really important for them to nail combat, and it's important for us to continue to give them good data on that topic.
Yeah.
And we're gonna switch over to video for our video users here. But one of the big things that they do, and of course they did, and they do with all of the dev updates, is they have new video footage, and we got to see the Eldin Ruins. They gave us thoughts on Ruins as an environment inside of MMOs, and Bordy, I just like to take a second to kind of talk about that, because we got to see a new setting that we haven't seen yet in Ashes, and that is this like dreary graveyard looking ruins place. So Bordy, I know we're kind of both also on. It's odd. We're both in the like undead, like spooky, like skull, death looking armor and all that stuff. So what did you think about like this ruins and the boss that they encountered inside of there?
I liked it, man. We just got finished talking about what we enjoyed in an environment in an MMO, and this hits it spot on for me, man. The ruins look amazing. The scale of those things are really good. They're kind of in shambles. They're kind of scattered around, and then you have the fog in there, and then you have all these big foliage plants that are sprouting up, and none of it is realistic except for potentially the ruins, I guess, could be maybe kind of a realistic environment. But like the foliage that's there, dude, all that's not, it's just made up stuff. It looks incredible though, and I love it. That's the type of stuff I like in an MMO. It looks really, really good in my opinion. And then as they progress kind of through this area, you get to see some fog and some just really spooky environments. And then you have the kind of the ghosts walking around, the ghost soldiers walking around everywhere. Man, I'm here for, dude. This is the type of zone that I like a lot. And I'm glad they showcased this finally, because what we're used to seeing so far is really a lot of vibrant areas and a lot of beach looking areas that look beautiful. They look amazing. But then you have this other side, which is this kind of spooky, murky, foggy area. And it looks cool, man. I like it a lot.
Yeah. And to the point about the fog, man, I think environment, when you're talking about environment, like dynamic weather and everything like that kind of like changes as you enter a zone and kind of adds to the the environment, makes it feel alive. Like when you're going through a graveyard, it's awesome when it's like foggy and dark and maybe possibly storming, as opposed to like sunny and nice outside. I love the zone specific type of weather, and it seems like the fog is part of these ruins, and I like that, dude. I like that a lot.
It looks incredible. Yeah.
So, another thing that we can kind of speak of from this video is the armor that they showed us from the players running around and fighting, dude. Our team kills it, really. Like, there's so many different appearances already in this game of armor and everything. I love the Stevens character's armor. It looks sick, dude. It's cool looking mage gear. What did you think about a lot of the armor that the characters were using?
Yeah, I like it a lot too. We've seen in some of the backer packages some armor that we haven't really liked a lot. And so it's nice to see some of this stuff in game. And a lot of all of the armor that they're wearing here, all four characters, they look really good, man. And Stevens in particular, the color scheme there of the blue and the black right there. I think we've seen something similar to this in one of the backer packages that we've looked at before, kind of the feathery look. Dude, it looks really, really cool, man. I like it a lot. It fits a very dark warlock mage style character. It looks really cool. And then there's the plague doctor hat or helmet or whatever that Toast has on. Oh man, dude, it looks really, really good, man. And then you have over here, who is it? Baked Bananas? Who is that? I don't know what dev is that? Is just Baked Banana? I don't know. But it's kind of assassin gear. It like rogue assassin style gear, man. It looks really good. I am excited for it. I was happy to see this in game.
Yeah, they do. I think that's another big part of an MMO is like cool looking armor and achieving that and the feeling like you earned something and having your character be unique from other characters or other players. I love that, dude. It's one of the things that draws me to MMOs. So the last thing I want to talk about is the Lost Soldier, dude. It's this boss that they ran into in the ruins. It's like this dark looking enchanted armor set. Yeah. Dude, that was a sick looking enemy.
Yeah, they dropped some bombs in this developer update for sure. Like this enemy right here looks incredible, man. It's got the kind of the fire, the smoldering look of armor, like this enchanted looking armor. It's kind of glowing. It's just dark. It has on this tattered cape that looks kind of feathered out, dude. And it's huge. The boss is huge, man. It's probably 3 times the size of a player. It's kind of floating around, hovering around like a ghost that kind of fits this area. Fantastic job, man. This is exactly the type of mob I would want to encounter in an area like this. It looks really, really good. And I hope that it's very difficult and takes a lot of people to take down, or maybe it's, I don't know. I hope it's a hard boss though. I hope these encounters are as enjoyable as they look like they're going to be.
Well, and it's just cool to think about, these nodes and leveling them up, and how potentially this ruin could go from maybe, just like your basic graveyard or whatever, to now like this massive crypt with this dude, this massive boss patrolling the area. And basically, if you go in here with a group of less than 5, you're in deep trouble if you encounter it.
Right.
I love that, that fear that, you can kind of instill in players' hearts as you're exploring. It's fun to explore and cool, find new and cool things. But dude, it's also really cool, I think, to have that like fear that like I got to be really careful how I'm exploring, because I might run into something that's gonna eat my lunch like immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. What about, this is a little off topic, I think, but did you see the passive skill system that they added? They briefly kind of touched on that a little bit.
Well,
but there's
go ahead. It reminds me a lot, and I know Steven talks a lot about his influence on MMOs, and me and you recently revisited ArcAge. It reminds me a lot of ArcAge's passive system. The UI does, at least.
Yeah.
But it looks good, man. I think ArcAge has a really cool class system. So, I don't mind them borrowing stuff from that.
Yeah, definitely in depth. And I think it'll be good. We didn't get to see a whole lot of it, but yeah, I would agree. Hopefully we'll see more of that. I'm sure we'll see a lot more of that once the NDA drops.
Yeah, and again, dude, I'm looking at it right now on screen. It is basically identical. You have your passive, active, and weapons, but the way you assign points and the tiers in which you get to assign them to, it looks very similar. And again, I'm okay with borrowing stuff from MMOs if it works. And I think ArcAge, one of the things that ArcAge did well, or maybe one of the few things I think a lot of people would argue, since it's basically a pay-to-win game, is their class system and being able to, combine the 3 class and create combos within those skill systems. And I know, Ashes of Creation's trying to do like the dual class and kind of using your alterations within your skills to create new skills. And I think something like this works very well for it. So I'm glad to see that they've updated their UI. It looks nice and clean. Dude, I love when we get to do an episode like this, when we have a developer update. Seeing the progress of this game continues to be encouraging. I can't wait for beta, dude. I'm really excited about the opportunity to play the game and see how it feels.
Alpha?
Did I say
alpha?
Beta? Oh my gosh, Alpha. Sorry,
New
New World Beta.
Soon,
Alpha are about the same time, so... Yeah, it's going to be exciting to play and get in there, dude, and how far... It's going to also be cool how far it comes within that month of July 14th to August 13th. Having players in there and providing feedback and everything like that is going to be sick.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a fun time to be an Ashes of Creation fan for sure.
Yep. All right, man. Well, that about wraps it up, guys. We thank you to all our Patreons who continue to support us. Big thank you to you. You'll see your names after the podcast is over. And dude, if you guys want to continue to follow Ashes of Creation, don't forget to hit the subscription button, the notification bell. We plan on doing more new Ashes of Creation content like Ashes to Go over here on the channel as we get more and more information, which obviously during the alpha, and it's going to be no NDA, so we're going to get tons of that as well. So thank you guys so much for listening and continuing being our audience. We're very grateful for you guys, and we'll see you in the next episode of Ashes to Go.